There he is. That's a big one. Oh, yes. Woo! Yes. That's a 5 or 6 pounds. That's bigger than that. Yes. Look at that pig. He's barely hooked. Oh, my gosh. Thank you, Lord. Look at that bass. That is a beautiful bass. I bet that's a 7 pounder now. That's 6.5 anyway. Look at me shaking. Golly, did you see him hit that? Oh my gosh.
Randy Howell says this is how we start this week's Bassmaster event with a 7 pounder. This is from third day action on Alabama's Lake Guntersville. I'm Tommy Sanders. My buddy Jerry McInnes is alongside of me. Kelly Jordan is on the lake as well, and he says, hey, if Howell can do it, I can do it too.
Thank you, Justin Boots. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about right there.
Guntersville is a real unique lake in the sense that it's a grass lake. It's rather large. It comes out of Nickajack, which is Chickamauga, Nickajack. It's on the Tennessee River that runs through here. And it's just got such a diversity of cover because you not only have a bunch of milfoil, you have hydrilla, you have, this time of year, there's a lot of stumps and stump flats, and there's ledges and creeks. So it's pretty much a textbook lake that you'd read about in Bassmasters magazine. You catch fish like that, and you catch about 5 of those or 6 of those, and you just kind of hold even. That's not even a good one. I mean, that's a 3.5 pound fish, and it's just kind of so-so in this tournament. You need to catch 4 pounders and 5 pounders, and it's just an incredible lake.
Boy, great expectations for sure. Thank you, Shaw. Jerry, why don't you tell us how these guys are going to go about catching those big weights?
Well, not to oversimplify it, but it's just a matter of getting in the right spot. They're going to be throwing a lot of jerk baits, both hard and soft jerk baits. We're going to see spinner baits. We're going to see lizards and tubes. And the secret will still be getting in the right place, finding the right piece of grass.
Hey, this is what I was getting in practice, but I just need to get 5 in the boat right now. I'm not going to worry about that.
Well, again, this is action from day 3 of this Guntersville tournament. Still 150 pros out there trying to make the cut. The cut down to 10 anglers who fish on the last day, on championship day. And believe us, somewhere under that raincoat is reigning Bassmasters Classic champion Kevin VanDam. You know he's well on his way to being counted among that Elite 10. As a matter of fact, Kevin is the man who led this tournament after 2 days action. On day number 2 in this tournament, he caught himself just 25 pounds and 1 ounce of bass here on Guntersville.
Hey, this is a great experience for the AMs in the back of the boat as well, too, because, man, when you're fishing in grass, a cast in any direction can score.
Yes. Look at that.
The thing that was different today is we had a rain all day long with not much wind. And I just think that, you know, with those conditions, the fish were really moving around a lot. And I had to really cover a lot of water today compared to what I had been in practice. Before, you know, I'd just been able to stay in one area and do pretty well, but I had to really move around a lot because I think with the cloudy weather, those fish were just roaming and cruising.
Randy Blockett of Joplin, Missouri, in the lead in this tournament after the first day and certainly holding his own, going for the cut, as is VanDam and Jordan.
And you can probably tell these fish are shallow, and most of the guys are, well, they're using lots of plastic baits. They're being rigged, Texas rig style, only they're not using a weight on them. They're just swimming them free out there.
This is the word. That's me. That's all I'm taking.
Kelly Jordan from Mineola, Texas, down there Lake Fork country. That's big bass area. So Kelly Jordan's thinking big. Maybe that's why he's doing so well this week. He thinks a big spinnerbait thrown in those shallow flats could be the answer. Every pound, every ounce is important now. 10 anglers trying to make it into one more day as we watch Fish Fishborn with the finalists.
Mr. Kelly Jordan. Kelly was in third on day 1. Watch him move up. 24 pounds, 1 ounce. The thing I want to find out is, are you going to be able to go back there tomorrow and duplicate a catch like this? That bass weighs 5 pounds and 13 ounces. The biggest one, gosh, they're all about 5 pounds. Can you do it?
I know where they are.
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail is presented by Long John Silvers.
How about that for a little taste? The Pro Tour stop on Lake Guntersville, and they have been catching them like that all week long. These anglers are out there working so hard, trying to move up that list for a whole number of different reasons. And if you want to go out and make something happen, you got the possibility of doing it here, right?
It's all about grass.
Yes, it is.
It is. Now, you and I are trimming it and cutting it, and these guys are making careers out of learning how to fish around it.
That is absolutely right. Jerry McInnes is here, Tommy Sanders, and Jimmy Dykes back in the fold this week. He's down on Lake Guntersville. Kelly Jordan starting out in the lead. It's kind of like a dream for him, but a nightmare at the same time. Look who's right behind him, our 2001 Classic champ, Kevin VanDam.
Kevin VanDam, yesterday morning this time, you're in the #1 spot, but you dropped to #2 yesterday. What happened?
Well, you know, the first 2 days I got those big bites, and that really helped me get up there. But yesterday, you know, I caught a lot of good quality fish, but not the big bite. So hopefully today.
Now today, to get the big bite and get the big bite in the boat, what has to happen for you?
Well, everything has to go right. You know, the fish are starting to move up to spawn, and the ones I'm fishing for are starting to get funny the way they bite. And I missed a lot of them yesterday, and just, you know, you'd get a good bite and set the hook and just turn the fish and they'd come off. And, you know, I need that to be the other way. The first 2 days I caught everything that bid, and, you know, you got to execute to be able to win these tournaments.
Okay, buddy, good luck to you.
Thank you.
I have no idea whether he can pass Jordan and win this thing, but it's going to be a lot of fun watching VanDam work all day. He's going to be grinding each and every second.
I want to talk to you about the word luck.
All right.
Luck. You know, luck and fishing seems to be associated all the time, and I want everybody to consider this. If we had one tour event a year, and you finished in the top 10 or 20 or even 50, I think you might say, well, you were lucky. But Tommy, this is our 5th of 6 events, and the same names keep popping up in the top 10 and 20. You know, Davis and Nixon and Peter T. and Hart. And so it can't be luck. There's more to it. I think we're going to have to admit these guys are talented bass anglers.
Let's get a look at this elite field of Final 10 right now, beginning with our leader, Kelly Jordan from Mineola, Texas. How about that man, reigning Bassmasters Classic champ, Kevin VanDam. Randy Blockett, the veteran from Joplin, Missouri, has been in this position many times before. First look at Gary Yamamoto, the noted bait manufacturer. Randy Howell, a tough customer from down here in the state of Alabama. Tim Horton, who won our Bassmaster Tour event on Lake Toho earlier this year. Tommy Biffle, noted for his second-place finishes, looking for a win today. And the all-time money-winning leader, Larry Nixon of Bee Branch, Arkansas. Takahiro Omori, how many times have we seen him in the finals this year? The well-respected angler from Jacksonville, Florida, Peter Filberos. Our top 10 fishing on Lake Guntersville today.
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail is brought to you by Citgo, and in part by Mercury, and by Triton.
I'd like to pick a couple of them early this morning. That would sure be nice. I got a jig tied on. I'd cut them off. I might throw a jig a little bit out on them this morning. See if I can shake one up.
Kelly Jordan wants to shake up a couple early here, but it looks like Randy Blockett with a plastic lizard is about to be the first on the board.
It's a keeper, but it's not the size that is going to win the tournament.
That's right. It'll probably be bigger fish that win the tournament, but who knows what technique, Jerry? There's so many being employed today.
I can tell you the one Gary Yamamoto's using. Incidentally, he does not use a landing net. And he is throwing a Cinco, no doubt. And the best way to describe a Cinco, Tommy, it looks like a Sharpie pen.
Yeah.
A soft Sharpie pen.
Kevin VanDam.
And I tell you, this type of fishing that they're doing is a lot of fun, because those fish will come up there and tick those baits, and you'll just see your line taking off. And, man, that's a lot of fun.
Kelly Jordan. Now, we're starting to see something here we knew was going to happen, Jerry, with the conditions such that they are, and being Saturday, too.
Yeah, some locals right there in front of him catching the fish. Some locals catching the fish right in front of Randy Howell. And, you know, that's a part of it, and these guys realize that. They just have to put it out of their mind mentally. Randy Blockett's fisherman is actually anchored on his place, so that's a real problem for him.
You know, the thing about that is, I mean, I was a non-tournament fisherman for a long time, and I mean, every time there was a tournament that came to town, I gave them all types of rings. So I mean, you know, there's just a little bit of courtesy there.
Oh, well, Randy proceeds to do the best thing he can do, and that's just keep fishing.
All right. God dang, good catch. Man, that is the kind right there it's going to take to win. Good job. Let's start. Keep that one this side here.
A lot of activity going on. There he is. Yeah, that's a keeper. Thank you, Lord. Finally, on the board. How long I let that bait lay there? I'm a late starter today, but I got on the board. I know, though, when you're not catching them, like I said before, on this lake, usually you got to move somewhere else because this lake is so awesome, has so many bass in it. This tournament has probably been a record-setting tournament. I think I saw the sheet last night. I think it was 50. It's almost 2,000 pounds of bass weighed in yesterday just on the pro side alone, not counting the amateur side. The amateur side was probably half of that anyway. So total for the whole tournament, I bet it was over 7,000 pounds of bass, I bet, weighed in over the whole pro and amateur side. So that's amazing, lake to have that good a fish in it. And that puts the pressure on you because you know if you're not catching them or doing good, you better be moving somewhere else because somebody's catching them somewhere.
Can't help but think Randy may be thinking of this guy right here when he says that, Tim Horton.
Boy, he's had a couple of great days. Qualifying day 1 and day 2 had over 20 pounds the first day. Then yesterday kind of slacked off a little bit, but he's fishing different than anybody else. He's fishing slow with a big spinnerbait.
Missed him. No, I didn't. Feels like a good one. Yeah, he's a keeper. Oh, yeah. Good fish. All right, that's a start right there. 4-pounder. Right on the back trailer hook, that Riverside spinnerbait. All right, that's a start. Come on, fish, before everybody falls asleep.
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail here on Lake Guntersville, and Kevin VanDam, he said it at the top of the show, his spot is starting to get a little funny.
I can see the writing on the wall that we're going to have to vacate the premises. Give them all day to move back in and maybe make a pass through here later, but... Oh, I just missed one right there, though. Golly.
I don't know if anyone was quite ready for what has gone on this week. Kevin, did you have any idea this would be such a big fish bonanza this week on Lake Guntersville?
Actually, Tommy, I did. It's, you know, this is some kind of lake. I've fished it quite a few times in the late 80s and early 90s, and, you know, it was the same kind of lake then, and the grass is back again, and so are the bass in a big way.
What has been your primary way of catching fish? I mean, there's been several different techniques.
Well, when you got a lake with so many fish, you can catch them a lot of ways. But what I did is I was playing on the idea that the lake was going to come up. It was 2 foot low at Winter Pool when we finished practice, and they were going to bring it up to full pool during the tournament. And I knew with the water temperature the way that it was, that a lot of the fish would start moving up to want to spawn. So I've been going into spawning areas and you know, in these little shallow flats and throwing it mostly stumps with a lizard and a jig. And today, you know, I've had to change a little bit. It hasn't been near as easy. The area that I've caught most of my big fish in is really slowed down. I expected fish to keep moving in, but they just didn't do it. They weren't there overnight, for sure.
So you think the fish have left that area, or are they just, something got them backed off a little bit?
Well, I've caught 65 pounds out of there, so, you know, there's a few less of them around. But, no, there's plenty of them there. There's plenty of them out in front to move in. I'm going to go back in there after a little bit and see what I can't come up with again. But right now, I'm just trying to target the same pattern in the same general area. And I'm catching fish, but they're not the big ones, you know. I'm gonna make do. If you give me a minute, I'll come up with a few more excuses.
All right. Well, Kevin, I don't want to hear any excuses. I know you won't make any excuses on this account, but being the reigning Classic champion and being a guy that does so well and works so hard, I know your time is really stressed. I mean, each and every week of the year. I want to know how you deal with that. I mean, how you keep yourself refreshed and relaxed, and you get yourself a brand new outlook for each new lake that you approach when a tournament week rolls around.
Well, for me, it's pretty easy because I don't get to fish very much at all anymore. You know, I'm busy doing a lot of other things. When I get to a tournament, I'm really focused and excited to go fishing. I absolutely love what I do, and I'm dying to get out there, you know. So for me, it's a break to go to a tournament. Net. This is a good one.
Kelly, you can call for that net all you want. Today, it ain't going to happen.
Who was he thinking? He thought the cameraman would just drop and help him.
Yeah. Well, he's thinking about his AM partner yesterday who did provide.
Hey, he is fishing a spinnerbait. I said that earlier. He's great at fishing the spinnerbait. He is trying to tick the tops of that grass, much like he did out in Rayburn a few weeks ago.
Kelly was our leader, certainly coming into today. He may not show it on the outside, but on the inside, you know he's thinking about Kevin VanDam.
VanDam was trying to psych me out yesterday. We're friends. We're friendly. I don't know him really good, but I'd say we're friends. And we were all lined up to do our little photo layout we had for ESPN yesterday. And he looked at me and he goes, "I think I'll catch 30 pounds tomorrow." Trying to psych me out. I said, "Yeah, I think I will too." And he goes, "Well, you need 2 8-pounders to do that." I said, "No, I'm just going to catch about a 12 or 14, just end it." He just kind of smiled and...
Little keeper. Anyways, I think he is. Yeah. First day I caught a 5-pounder off that stump.
Yeah, beating VanDam's gonna be tough, I'll tell you that. I'm gonna need a lot bigger ones than what I have right now.
We're out in Lake Erie, and on an island like this, and we're catching smallmouth. And I see this snake on the water. I said, "Gee, look at that snake." And then there's a big black thing underneath him. And I don't know if this smallmouth was going to eat the snake or what. He was using the snake for shade. But anyway, I picked up a little jerkbait and threw it right by the snake. And this 5.5-pound smallie comes up and eats it. There you go. Well, if we keep talking, we might be able to just be a keeper. What kind of fish? I guess you're a keeper. Baby keeper, but it's a keeper. Plenty of room. Oops. Okay, get in there. Now we got a total of 4 pounds. That's all right. It's still early.
Welcome back. It's our 5th Pro Tour stop on the Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail, and we shouldn't go any farther, Jerry and Jimmy Dykes, down on Lake Guntersville, without talking about the Angler of the Year stats. And I think we should, so much fun, especially when we get to talk to Jimmy about how your guys coming along. Davey Height, you predicted early on. Are you sticking with that or not? Now that things are getting tough, Mr. Front Runner.
I'm not jumping anywhere. I've still got Davey Height-itis, and I like it. I also know you guys have been on me a little bit the last few months because I've been out on the basketball trail. Jerry McInnes, remember, I'm also the one that said Maryland would win the whole thing back in January. Davey Height, Angler of the Year, Maryland college basketball. You heard it here first.
All right, we got way too much backpedaling going on here. But even Davey Height did a little backpedaling this week. He knew all along that he was not going to be able to waltz into the Angler of the Year title, and he said as much here on Lake Guntersville.
It's just not over until the end of the year. The good thing, I had a good tournament for my drop. You know, with the drop, it's hard to really figure how you need to do in each tournament. But I did know that the guys that were behind me had used their drop. So, you know, it's good that I had the 8s in the hole, so to speak. But now I've used it up going into the last event. I think everyone in the top 5 or so will have used a bad tournament, and it's just going to come down to how you finish in that last event.
The drop that Davey's talking about, the practice of dropping your worst tournament performance through the course of the season. But take a look at this list. The top 7 in contention and 5 past Anglers of the Year in the list.
That kind of backs up what I said right at the beginning, that luck is not involved here. Doggone it, these guys keep showing up at the top, so there is some talent involved.
Yeah, anyone who doubts that, all you have to do is look at the list right there. Now, it's going to be a dogfight. I mean, this is all shaping up to be a dogfight at our last Pro Tour stop of the year down on Lake Eufaula. It will be Height and Nixon and Davis, I think, all in the thick of it.
Maybe Horton even.
All right, who are you sticking with, Jimmy Dykes?
Still like the dog named Davey. How about that? There's only one.
All right. Jimmy is staying with him there. Consider this also, the Angler of the Year stats for 3 of our anglers are not yet written for this tournament yet because Larry Nixon, Kevin VanDam, and Tim Horton are still doing their fishing on this final day. In fact, here's Horton right now.
It's on the trailer hook again. Barely got him hooked. All right, there's built good. Now that's a fat fish. Look at that, right on the trailer hook again. That's 2 that I've caught this morning on this Riverside spinnerbait, and I've got them both on right on the trailer hook.
The trailer hook Tim keeps talking about. That's a hook that he puts on the regular spinnerbait hook. Himself puts it on there himself. Doesn't come that way, and it really gives you more hooking ability. Almost all of the pros do this modification, and I believe that we're seeing 2 casts and 2 strikes. This is
6 or 7, but he's
this is our second look at Horton this year, boy.
Anyway.
He won down there at Toho, and he is such a bright young angler.
Oh. Got him hooked good. All right. All right. Had him in the gill a little bit. All right. Back-to-back cast. Back-to-back cast.
Well, it looks like Kevin VanDam is getting as many strikes as most everyone. Is just the size of his fish have really gone down from the previous day.
Yeah, and we've mentioned this before, that the water dropped during the night, maybe 6 or 8 inches. I don't know if that had a big effect on it. He seems to be catching smaller fish. Horton, on the other hand, it didn't affect him. Boy, his fish are really the kind he's looking for.
It's not the fish that was there before.
Over to Randy Howell now. You know, he entered this day with such high hopes. I know he was wanting to do well today.
And he's a sight fisherman. And you know what? I believe he's caught all the fish
Got him in the mouth that
he knew about.
That he could see.
That he could see. And then, of course, the cloud covers hurt him a little bit, too. But he did slip up on this one, and he is still looking for those fish around the beds.
Maybe he'll get a little ray of sunshine that'll help him out toward the end of the day.
Big, but he bit it that time and started swimming off with it. I'll take you.
Well, let's turn on all our high-tech gear now and track Randy Blockett's path today from Guntersville State Park up to a spot across the river from Salty Creek and Goose Pond near the Caldwell Light.
And Randy is not fishing next to the river channel. It actually looks that way, but he's not. He's up on a flat where the debris and the diggings from the area that was dredged out in front of him was stacked, and he's got about he's got a quarter of a mile stretch there. He's spending most of his time going back and forth.
Finally, we get one that might keep. Maybe. Maybe.
That's a limit for Randy, but I know he's still having trouble with thinking about the local anglers in his area. It really bothers him. Boy, you know, when Randy's mind is straight, he's truly one of the better professional bass fishermen.
Jeez, man, what a small limit, man. It's the smallest 5 I've had all week. Do you ever have one of those days where you just cannot get anything going? I just feel like I've just started fishing yesterday or something today. I don't know what it is. It seems like these finals, it's like about half the time I get in these top 10 finals, it's like something happens where it just throws your momentum off right off the bat in the morning. I don't know why I keep creating that situation for myself, but I've got to get past that. I mean, it seems like that's one of the things I really admire about some anglers is when the chips are down, like on the top 10 day, you know, they can go out and you know, just really get into the flow, you know, when it counts. And I know that I've got a real issue with fishing pressure, and I've got to mentally work on that as far as an angler if I'm going to compete in the future, particularly because it's just our lakes are getting more crowded all the time. And, you know, I've got to learn to deal with that because I keep taking myself out of the chance to win the tournament because of my attitude about fishing pressure. And I know that's just something I've got to, you know, do on my own and make that decision, but it's just so dang hard.
Right, back to the map. Gary Yamamoto, now one of the anglers going downstream or west. He makes a turn under the 431 bridge into a place called Claysville area. Some islands in there that are important landmarks for Gary's fishing.
And one thing I've noticed watching Gary so far is he's trying to fish points, and he is, of course, very shallow. But as you can tell, shallow next to deep water. These are all spawning spots, and he's fishing them very slowly and very carefully.
I like it when it's biting. I can tell you, fish on, and then set the hooks. They're not biting enough to say anything. I normally don't like to go down the bank the right side, but I have to, so. It's just the hook set is better this way. Yeah. Hook set. All right, that's enough.
We got more to come. Let's take a quick look at the scoreboard. Kelly Jordan, for now, looking fairly invincible today. We'll take a deeper look, so to speak, into Kelly's fishing spot when we return.
ESPN2's exclusive presentation of the Citgo Bassmasters Tour is brought to you by Lowrance, by Kumo, and by Motor Guide.
Championship day here on Guntersville. Yesterday, we crowned our amateur champ. He was John Robertson of Shreveport, Louisiana. And of course, today, we're only seeing the top 6 anglers coming into today's competition.
Come here, buddy. Yes, sir. Oh, thank you, Lord. That's a pretty nice one. Ain't not a 4-pounder, but...
Billy Jordan marches on here. Let's take a look at the leaderboard right now. A commanding lead. But remember, we mentioned we're not covering all these guys. We're not seeing today Larry Nixon, Peter T, Tommy Biffle, Takahiro Omori, some pretty big names out there.
Where they've been fighting with each other, bumping and scraping. Has teeth marks of their bass biting on it, hitting its sides. Just a post spawner.
Things going pretty good for Kelly right now, so let's let Mr. Sanders bring us some info from the outdoor world.
It's our Bass Times news for this week, and to start things off, we're going to take you back to the Louisiana Delta, the Barataria Basin, the site of last year's Bassmasters Classic. Now comes news of an oil spill in the basin in an area called Little Lake. 84,000 gallons of crude have spilled down there, but so far the reports are pretty good, fairly encouraging. No animals have been affected, and most of the waterfowl are out of the area this time of year. A massive cleanup is underway, and once that's done, they will replant any affected marsh grass. Well, our own Jimmy Dykes, of course, is down on Lake Guntersville this week, where it has been a bit moist, but very safe for all the anglers on the tour. They have a tremendous record. And, Jimmy, that differs from a lot of other categories of fishing, as we understand.
Well, it does. I think fishing fans will kind of be surprised to hear that a recent United Nations study showed us that fishing, one of the deadliest activities you can participate in. But we're talking about commercial fishing, which is certainly different than what we're seeing today on Lake Guntersville. And up to 70 lives a day, Tommy, are lost in the commercial fishing industry. Pretty alarming statistic.
Absolutely. The guys on the tour, they've done such a great job, and they have such a tremendous safety record. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's the anglers that have really stepped forward and taken the lead in all the safety precautions they can come up with. You're talking about the kill switches in place, the advanced flotation devices. Certainly the safety helmets help. The boats are certainly a lot safer now than they were years ago. All these things, though, have been really brought to the forefront by our anglers. They're the ones that are concerned, and they're the ones that are taking the lead right now.
All right, they're doing a good job, and they're really helping themselves. Jimmy Dykes down on Lake Guntersville.
Bass Times has been brought to you by Citgo.
Jordan's not throwing that spinnerbait right now. He's actually dropping a little plastic tube out on some beds that are right in front of the boat now. It's probably a 20-foot square out there. I know it's hard to see, but there's probably a 20-foot area where the bottom is a lot lighter, and that's where these fish are bedding. And you can't see the fish out there, but they have to be there.
Not as big as I thought. I think it's the male. It's a nice one. I'll take him. Come here, buddy. Looks like about a 3-pounder. Yes, sir. Hey, 3-pound buddies. Nice little chunk. He's my limit. That makes me very happy.
There he is. That's another big fish. Please be a bass and not a catfish. Oh my gosh. Big one. Five or 6 pounds. Oh my goodness. Ripped it out of the grass again. That fish just jumped all over it. The quality seems to be better. It's like there were a whole lot of bucks on this spot yesterday. The shad are just stacked in here. When I get to this one spot, I just have shad just popping my spinnerbait when I'm reeling it in. And I think these bigger fish have found the bait fish here.
I'm going to let Tim get some oxygen while we take a look at his path today upriver. You remember the spot where Randy Blockett was fishing? He's right across the river from that, near the mouth of Salty Creek, just south of the Goose Pond area there.
And you can see Salty Creek coming right towards Timmy. And here's the main river channel. And like you said, he's right across from Blockett. Now, neither he or Blockett are really around a lot of grass, but look at the great contour that seems to be around him in every direction.
There it is. It's a keeper.
one thing's for sure, you have seen the Gary Yamamoto name if you've walked into a tackle store or a fishing department in the last several years. So
I'm glad we're finally going to get to talk to Gary.
yeah, I know. We've been wanting to see him fishing. Gary, I want to ask you first off, for those of us not in the know, what's your favorite technique to fish? What is your strength?
I guess generally soft plastic baits, whichever type that I make.
Well, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Well, you know, I just really want to ask you about a Cinco, and a Cinco is a lure that boy, it's just become popular from coast to coast. And first of all, what does Gary? What does Cinco mean? How do you interpret that?
Well, my son chose it as to mean flash in Japanese, but Senko has many meanings in Japanese, so even the Japanese don't know what it is, what its real meaning is.
Would you mind the next time you get your bait out of the water, are you fishing a Cinco right now?
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, the next time you get out, show it to our camera and then explain to us exactly how you're fishing it at this time.
Basically, I'm targeting spawning bass or staging bass, and I'm just casting it weightless with I use a gamakatsu hook here, a wide gap, and I'm just casting it out there and letting it fall to the bottom, and then picking it up and let it fall again. And when the bass are picking this thing up, they'll just pick it up and eat it. It's not like trying to bed fish and coaxing the fish to bite. They'll just come out and eat this bass, even though they're spawning bass.
Thank you, Gary Yamamoto. Now back over to Tim Horton. What a story he is. Young man who went out and won the Angler of the Year title, basically his rookie year on the Bassmaster Tour.
He is a phenomenal fisherman. And Tom, if you don't mind me backing up here a little bit, Gary Yamamoto is my new favorite professional bass fisherman.
He's interesting, isn't he?
He really is. He is such an you know, we've had so many fish caught today, and we have so many stars out there that it doesn't seem like we've had enough time to feature any of them. Horton right here, boy, he's a story all by himself. What a great! I wanted to talk so much today about how he uses his rod.
We see it right there,
right? Well, we have a great race, and we have a lot of things going on in the bass fishing world, and I think you ought to tell us about them.
Well, that's for sure, Jerry. Some big changes coming up next year on the Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail. In the Pro Tour, we are going to go from 6 tournaments to 10 tournaments. We'll start out with a full field of 175 pros. They will fish for 6 tournaments. They'll cut the field down to 100, who will fish 2 more tournaments. They'll cut the field then to 50. They'll fish those last 2 tournaments. The top 40 out of the 50 go to the Bassmasters Classic.
And weren't you thinking about getting some new luggage?
I think I'd better. We got a heavy schedule coming up.
We are going coast to coast next year. That's going to be a lot of fun. And how about the new purse? We will be up 44% from last year, up to $9.2 million in the overall tour. And Tommy, if there's a youngster out there thinking about a career in professional bass fishing, he hit it at the right time. He needs to give it a lot of thought.
Excellent timing. And the new schedule is having some repercussions. This week at Lake Guntersville, the pros are really working hard because only the top 75 from this year's Pro Tour will be retained for next time around. So they're in danger, some of them, of not making the cut and having to go qualify through the open divisions. But we got some guys out there fishing right now who are just thinking about one tournament, winning at Guntersville. We'll continue that when we return. Our 6th event of the year on the Citgo Bassmaster Tour. We're on Lake Guntersville here in Alabama. That photographer there is our buddy Oga. He shoots for the Japanese publication called Basser. Of course, there's a lot of interest in Japan for this guy right here, Gary Yamamoto.
And he most likely is not going to win this event. He just had too much weight to make up. But boy, he's got himself in really great position to make the Classic. That fish right there that he's just caught off one of his islands has
still got it. Hold on, now wait a second.
Jump back in.
Is it in? Okay, still got. I guess he thought you just set it on the net. He's going to stay in there, right?
Hey, incidentally, one thing we did not bring up is the fact that Rick Clun had a subpar tournament and will probably not make the Classic. I'm really sad to bring that news to everyone.
Hey, Olga, every time you come around, I catch fish.
Kelly Jordan's already won one of the big events, a tour event in the state of Alabama, so we know you can get that job done. Kelly, the last time you did it, did you have the big man breathing down your neck like you did this time, though?
No, I didn't have the big man breathing down my neck. That adds a new element of I guess, intrigue to the tournament.
I can imagine. How's it affecting you today? Do you think about that sort of thing anyway?
No, I'm just fishing. I'm gonna, you know, give it my best effort. Hope I get the right bites. I know where they are. It's just gonna come down if I get enough of the good bites.
Hey, well, Kelly, I know that you fish a lot of water in Texas, and you have a lot of experience with grass. And I think that's got to be a big help to you in this particular event. And just talk to us a little bit about the grass and how you fish it.
Well, this is milfoil. I'm not used to fishing milfoil. I got hydrilla at home usually, but it's the same basic same thing. It's just a little hard to get your baits through the milfoil. It's a little more, I guess, soft than hydrilla. But the bass love it just like they love hydrilla. You know, and bass and hydrilla are happy bass. They like to eat. And usually if a lake has grass, you better be fishing in the grass. You're going to get beat. That's usually the way it works out. And the key to this tournament is just finding out where they are on these grass beds. The whole lake has grass pretty much. It's from, you know, the bank out to about 7 or 8 feet. There's some a little bit deeper, but not much. And I'm following the contours of the bottom pretty much, but also the contours of the grass lines. And I have an area here where the contour of the bottom lines up real nicely with the contour of the grass lines, and it makes a real nice funnel going back to this spawning area back here behind me.
Hey, I'm on the wrong island.
What?
I'm on the wrong island. I wasn't supposed to catch that fish there. That's the island I need to be on.
You're gonna have to put him back then.
Put him back. That's a good bonus. Caught it on the wrong island.
I'm gonna have to check the rule book on that. Hang on a minute.
This is not my island. That one is.
There's one. Yeah, buddy. Oh, yeah. Good one.
Kelly Jordan just keeps hooking him up and hooking him up. He's marching on today.
And it's not like he needs another fish, but I think we can safely say that if he catches this fish, Tommy, he may have this thing wrapped up. And I think he's been a very cool customer out there.
He has.
Yes, sir. This is generally what I try to look for when I go to new lakes. I try to look for these nice ones.
Back to Kevin VanDam, who doesn't look like he's going to be able to catch Kelly Jordan today. I know everyone thought that could be a possible scenario when we started out this morning.
You know what it looks like? It looks like that he's catching the small male fish around the bedding areas, and everybody else is catching the big females. So he had a tough day. Also, tough day for Randy Howe, who has promised us that this would be his last cast.
There he is. Come on, be a keeper. Oh, yeah. Yes. It's time to go, boys. Come off in the net. Another keeper spot. Let's go in. Last cat.
What a great week for you, Kelly Jordan.
Yeah, this lake is awesome. I've had a blast fishing here, and I guess we'll see where the chips fall in a couple hours.
All right. Looking forward to it.
All right, thank you.
That's the end.
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail is brought to you by Citgo and in part by Long John Silver's, Spiderwire, and by Yamaha.
Lots of fish this week, but this final Kelly Jordan bass is our flashback because, as we said before, it's kind of the one that wrapped it all up.
Sir.
Today's flashback has been brought to you by Long John Silver's.
Standing room only at Lake Guntersville State Park, but our own Jimmy Dykes has found a seat.
All right, we're here at the weigh-in. It's about to begin. I found two of the best-looking people in the weigh-in crowd. Tell me, first of all, who you are and where you're from.
Janice Bass from Guntersville, Alabama.
Janice Bass.
Yes.
B-A-S-S. You're not kidding me.
No.
From Guntersville,
Yes.
Alabama. Do you fish?
Yes.
You have to with a name like that. I found another person that intrigued me quite a bit. Tell me what's your name.
Lynn Bass.
Lynn Bass. Are you related to the other bass down here to my left? No. This area's just full of bass, obviously, right? Huh?
Well, as we take a look at our final tabulation, these anglers in positions 4 through 10 today could have used 1 or 2 more good big ones, but hey, what a week it has been. Take a look at those very impressive weights. And now we turn it over to Fish Fishburne and our top 3 finishers here at Lake Guntersville.
We're looking for 18 pounds and 9 ounces. Watch the weight. 18.9! Exactly!
I had a big fish last 2 days, and I kept trying to get a great big bite, and just never did get a big bite today. I lost one other fish, about maybe 3 or 4 pounds. That would have helped a little bit, but mainly was looking for that 7, 8, 9, 10 pound bite.
He is going to lead the event. 12 pounds, 11 ounces, 12-11.
Oh, it's not like it has been fished, but I'm sure glad to have them. I'll tell you, I was fishing shallow stumps, and a lot of these fish were coming up there to spawn and think about spawning and that, and I just could not really see them very well, and a lot of new fish just didn't move into my area.
Bring him on up here, folks. Welcome Kelly Jordan, your leader after 3 rounds of competition. Your champion, Kelly Jordan.
Let's have a quick look at where our champ did his stuff today. Upstream a couple of miles from where Blockett and Horton were fishing between the Caldwell and Small Island Lights.
And Guntersville's a large piece of water, and I'm surprised how close our tracks were today. Jordan's a fair distance from the actual main channel, which is about the middle of the lake, but this cove where he's at was a perfect spawning area. And a final word from our champ.
All right, Kelly Jordan, you had just over a 2-pound lead going into today, but you had some heavyweights. Kevin VanDam, Peter T., Larry Nixon breathing down you all day. Did that affect your strategy coming in?
Yeah, it made me really bear down and fish really hard today.
Yeah, it worked for you, though, right?
Yeah, it did. And I didn't catch them near as well today as I've been catching them, and that had me just in knots all day long. And with those guys breathing down your neck, you got to bring your A game and catch them. And I tell you what, I'm really fortunate to still win is what I call.
Congratulations to the man from Mineola, Texas. What a great front runner he was all day long today. When we see you next time on the Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail, we'll be on the Potomac River.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPNOutdoors.com.